Welcome back to the AI Breakdown Brief, all the AI news you need in 5 minutes or less. We start with companies changing their hiring plans on the basis of AI. IBM made news yesterday when they announced that they were planning to replace 7,800 jobs with AI. So this is back office workers, this is non-customer facing roles, HR, and to be clear, they're not firing 8,000 people and replacing them with machines. They're saying that they believe that these roles will be automated, so they're not going to hire those 7,800 people that they thought they previously would have. Now, Dropbox made news with something similar last week when they announced that they were laying off 500 people as part of their pivot to AI. And this isn't exactly the same in that this isn't roles that AI was automating away, but instead roles that AI was making obsolete or just not relevant for where Dropbox was going. So a different approach or a different reason that AI was disruptive, but still netting to the same thing of the rise of AI changing what skills were in demand, what skills could be done by people versus computers. Now, it's been earnings season for the last couple of weeks, and every big tech company has been talking about their AI strategy. Meta actually had a very successful earnings call. They announced, among other things, that their approach to AI in Instagram had increased the amount of time spent on Instagram by about 24%, thanks to better recommendations in the Reels feature, and this led to Meta stock being up 15% after that call. Well, they also had reported from the Command Line newsletter late last week, early this weekend, that the CTO, Andrew Bosworth, had told employees about whether they would be collaborating with Microsoft or OpenAI at all, and it really seems that the only potential area is around an AI coding assistant, but otherwise they're just working on their own technology. Still, I think that the biggest news from this AI earnings season comes from Amazon. Last month, Amazon announced Bedrock, which is a developer platform that allows developers to take advantage of pre-trained models from companies like Anthropic and Stability AI. But they also announced on this earnings call that they were working on an improved LLM to power Alexa. They say that this will be integral to their goal of having it be the world's best personal assistant, and that goal is really enabled by the rise of more powerful LLMs and generative AI. Now, coming at this idea of the big tech AI arms race from a slightly different angle, yesterday the New York Times reported that Geoffrey Hinton had resigned from Google. Geoffrey Hinton is sometimes known as the godfather of AI. He's been working on neural networks for nigh on 50 years now. He won a Turing Award for his work on neural networks. Google acquired his company in 2012, and it has been the basis of a lot of their work in AI subsequently. He left in part to warn of what he sees as increasing dangers of AI, which include things like we were just talking about, the disruption wrought from AI for people's jobs, their careers, their livelihoods. But he also sees other challenges as well. He's worried about nefarious actors and what they can do with this technology. He's worried about the X risk and all the existential questions. All in all, he's just worried that we are now hurtling towards a future that we don't really have control over. And one of the reasons that he suspects it's happening now is, in fact, this AI arms race. He said that he believed that for a long time, Google was a good steward of this technology, trying not to do things that might cause harm. But ever since Microsoft and Bing have been creeping up and threatening their core search business, those ideals have been kind of thrown out the window because of the business imperative to advance on AI. So interesting food for thought there. Now, you're also seeing alongside this more and more governments thinking about and putting AI as a priority. OpenAI is now available again in Italy after satisfying a number of conditions from the government there after their soft ban, including age verification. And you're also noticing the White House talk about AI more and more. Just yesterday, Bloomberg reported that the White House was looking into the use of AI around surveillance of remote workers, worried about the risk to safety and mental health. And while this story itself is not particularly important, I think it's indicative of a larger trend of this technology just being right at the center or growingly at the center of attention. Now, lastly, a thing that everyone is talking about because it's literally about mind reading, there's a new, very impressive study out of the University of Texas through which there's a brain activity decoder that can actually reveal what people are thinking in entire words and phrases. Effectively, people go into an MRI scanner, they listen to hours of podcasts in order to help train a specific model for their own brain. And later, when they are listening to a news story or imagine telling a story, they are hooked up to a machine, a non-invasive machine that generates text from their brain activity alone. So here's how UT News describes it. The result is not a word-for-word transcript. Instead, researchers designed it to capture the gist of what is being said or thought, albeit imperfectly. About half the time when the decoder has been trained to monitor a participant's brain activity, the machine produces text that closely and sometimes precisely matches the intended meanings of the original words. For example, in experiments, a participant listening to a speaker say, "I don't have my driver's license yet," had their thoughts translated as, "She has not even started to learn to drive yet." Pretty close. So I guess this is the next generation of reading people's minds. That's it for the brief. See you later for the AI breakdown.